Oh, Colin, you did it again.
On a completely random Tuesday morning, while Cleveland Browns fans were just sipping their lukewarm coffee and scrolling through training camp updates, Colin Cowherd dropped a bomb straight into the dog pound. Live on national TV, grinning like he knew the world's biggest secret, he casually declared, Shedeur Sanders should be QB1 for the Browns. Phones exploded, podcasts scrambled, Twitter descended into chaos, and sources say Browns owner Jimmy Haslam may or may not have hurled a remote across his office while muttering unprintable words about analysts who don't get football. From the outside, it might look like another hot take to fill airtime.
But in Cleveland? This is a ticking time bomb. Let's set the scene.
The Browns just named Joe Flacco, yes, still Joe Flacco, their Week 1 starter. He hasn't taken a single preseason snap, sitting on the sidelines like a dad at a barbecue, while Shedeur Sanders has been grinding every rep, mastering the system, and keeping his cool under pressure. And then Colin strolls in, pouring gasoline on the smoldering QB debate, daring anyone to disagree.
But was he wrong? Let's rewind. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a rookie. He's a phenomenon.
A quarterback with footwork smoother than most vets, composure that could make a Navy SEAL jealous, and a last name that guarantees media chaos whether he throws a touchdown or just ties his cleats.
Shedeur doesn't just play the position, he owns it.
Watch the preseason closely, beyond the highlight reels, and you'll see it, the small reads, the smart decisions. He's not forcing hero plays or chasing stats. He's controlling tempo, reading defenses, and killing dead plays instead of tossing backyard passes. That's rare for a rookie.
That's not hype, that's discipline. Cowherd tried to say it between the jabs and stats, but here's the truth, this isn't about stardom. It's about poise.
Shedeur is operating like a seasoned vet while the Browns are still clutching Flacco's Super Bowl ring like a security blanket.
And let's be honest, when Cowherd said it, he knew the fallout. This wasn't a hot take. It was a declaration of war on NFL hierarchy. Suggesting a rookie leapfrog a Super Bowl MVP and a room full of trusted vets? That's sacrilege in certain front offices, especially Cleveland, a franchise more famous for hunting the right QB than actually building one.
And then there's the front office.
Jimmy Haslam's reputation? Let's call it, enthusiastically involved. This is an owner who doesn't just write checks, he's in the meetings, watching practices, reading every headline.
So when Colin Cowherd tells the sports world that the kid he didn't pick to start should actually be leading the team, it hit hard.
Privately, Haslam was fuming.
Not just at the comment, but at the optics. Now, everything the Browns do is under that lens.
Every 3-and-out by Flacco?
Shedeur should have started.
Every sack?
Yep,
blame Shedeur. Every stalled red zone drive? Guess who's the scapegoat? Fair or not, that narrative owns you once it's out there. And it's not just Cowherd stirring the pot. The NFL's celebrity backup QB problem is real. Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick.
When a backup overshadows your starter, the team feels it, media distractions, locker room whispers, fan pressure off the charts.
Shedeur is right in the middle of it. Not by choice.
He's been all professionalism all camp, no quotes, no drama, just work. Even when Dylan Gabriel made that infamous entertainers versus competitors comment, clearly not aimed at him but twisted into a headline, Shedeur didn't flinch. He stayed focused, mature, poised. Caleb is learning to take what the defense gives him, not force plays. Smart screens, quick outs, clean footwork.
He's not trying to be Brett Favre, he's aiming to be Jared Goff with a cannon and some swagger. That's what coaches want.
A quarterback who respects the structure but can improvise without breaking it.
That's how you win in the NFL, not with hype, not with a brand, but with execution. Which brings us to Cleveland.
If you're keeping Shedeur Sanders in the shadows, selling Flacco is safe, fine, but you better win.
You better execute.
Because the moment you lose, when cameras pan to Shedeur on the sideline looking ready to drop 300 yards on command, the questions ignite. The leash is short, the fuse is lit, and Cleveland just handed the match to the fans.
The takeaway?
It's not that Shedeur Sanders deserves the starting job, it's that the Browns can't pretend he's not in the conversation. Like it or not, he is.
And the more they deny it, the louder the questions get. But if you're Shedeur, you stay silent. You don't flinch. You keep performing. Your moment will come, and when it does, you won't need anyone to announce it. The tape will speak for itself. And honestly, the harder you look at it, the tougher it is to argue with Cowherd. The Browns are playing scared, clinging to Joe Flacco like he's a security blanket because the unknown is just too terrifying. Cleveland fans have endured enough QB trauma to last a lifetime, but at some point, you can't just play not to lose. You have to play to win. Shedeur Sanders isn't a project. He's a win-now quarterback. Every snap, every pre-snap read, every smart throwaway, he's already thinking like a veteran, even with barely any regular season experience. Meanwhile, the Browns' plan? That's the real question. Ride Joe Flacco until he inevitably breaks down again. Wait until week 5 to realize your offense can't move the chains with a QB who hasn't scrambled meaningfully since the Obama administration. No disrespect, Flacco's a Super Bowl champ with an incredible career, but starting him over Shedeur? That's like putting a rotary phone in a Tesla. Nostalgic, maybe comforting, but completely out of place. And the longer it drags on, the more awkward it feels. Now that Cowherd said the quiet part out loud, every misstep from Flacco becomes a countdown. Every 3 and out? Cue louder calls for Shedeur. Every check down on 3rd and 9? Analysts digging up Shedeur's preseason tape. Every locker room, quote, neutral or not, gets scanned for hidden meaning. Leave the door cracked, and Colin kicked it off the hinges. But here's why this shakes the league. It's not just that Cowherd suggested Shedeur should start. It's who Shedeur is and what he represents. This isn't some quiet, under-the-radar rookie. He's a brand, a movement. A QB whose father redefined the coaching blueprint at the collegiate level and brought national media coverage to every game. Shedeur grew up under pressure. He learned to handle microphones, doubters, and critics before ever reading a nickel defense. Controversy doesn't rattle him, it fuels him. And now it's happening again. Shedeur isn't stirring drama. He's not dropping cryptic tweets or leaking trade demands. But the buzz around him is undeniable. Every time someone like Cowherd fans the Flames, it gets harder to justify keeping him benched. This isn't just pressure, it's leverage. Let's be honest, if Shedeur were a 4th-round pick from a small school with no name recognition, we'd already be calling him the steal of the draft. But because he's Deion's son, every step, every throw is under a microscope. And guess what? He's passing the test. So why the hold up? Is it really about readiness or optics? From a football standpoint, the argument barely exists. He's outperformed expectations, shown composure, moved the ball, minimized mistakes, and made smart decisions. That's exactly what you want from a young quarterback. Yet the Browns cling to Joe Flacco like he's a comfort blanket in a storm. It's not just frustrating, it's short-sighted. If you're not developing Shedeur now, when will you? When you're 2-5 and the season is spiraling? When fans are chanting his name after every stalled drive? When the locker room whispers about wasted potential? That's not development. That's desperation. Desperation isn't a strategy. The Browns are at a critical crossroads. They can either cling to the past or finally turn the page. The right move? Invest in your future. Give Shedeur Sanders real-time experience, structured reps, and meaningful game situations, not because it's a hot take, not because Colin said it, but because he's earned it. Now we're at another crossroads. One path leads to more of the same. The other leads straight to a 22-year-old rookie who just might be the real deal. And in walks Colin Cowherd, dropping a match on dry grass. Shedeur Sanders should be QB1. He didn't start the fire, he just exposed it. This has been building since the draft, since the day Shedeur put on that Browns hat, smiled for the cameras, and accepted the uphill battle, not because of his talent, but because of what he represents, change. Not because he's ready, because the system says he shouldn't be. That's the rule for guys like Shedeur: sit down, wait your turn, don't make waves. But he's been quiet. He's done the work.
And still, the team hesitates, as if admitting their future is already here is too bold.
He's not a plan B. He's the answer they've been tiptoeing around since training camp.
Now, the dancing stops.
Cowherd just said what Cleveland fans have been thinking but too afraid to voice. Why are we pretending Flacco is the only option? Let's look at the tape. Flacco didn't play a single preseason snap. 0.
Meanwhile, Shedeur took the hits, the questions, the pressure, and the leap. What you saw wasn't just potential.
It was proof. Proof he processes NFL speed. Proof he's better than expected. Not flashy, not reckless, but professional, composed. I belong here. It's more than performance. It's politics. Once Shedeur steps in as QB1, there's no going back. You're not just testing his skills. You're handing him the keys to the franchise. Terrifying for teams still clinging to the idea that a rookie must earn the locker room. But what if he already has? What if they already see it? Insiders whisper it over post-practice takeout, the players notice. They hear him in the huddle. They watch him recover from a bad throw. They compare, always compare. A QB room with a starter who hasn't played a snap against a rookie running real reps? The difference is palpable. Receivers feel it. Linemen feel it. Confidence, cadence, command, it's all there. Waiting for the perfect moment is like waiting for a flight that's already canceled. There is no perfect moment, there's only right now. It's not just Cleveland either. Look around the league, the Bears handed Caleb Williams the keys despite a chaotic offseason. The Texans gave CJ Stroud full control last year. Even Jordan Love, who waited longer than most, got the keys when the time came. The difference? Their teams made a decision. Cleveland? Still stuck at the fork in the road, paralyzed by the fear that taking a risk might somehow be worse than another season of mediocrity. Meanwhile, Shedeur keeps showing them exactly what they're trying to ignore. He's ready. No, he's not perfect. Yes, he'll make rookie mistakes. But ask yourself, what's the smarter move? A quarterback learning from live reps and improving week by week, or a 39-year-old stopgap you'll bench by mid-season anyway? That's not a choice, that's fear talking. Let's call it what it is, a moment of truth. The Browns can cling to nostalgia, or they can build something new. They can defend the status quo, or they can plant a flag and declare, this is our guy. But the clock is ticking. Collins said it out loud. The fans are chanting it. Analysts are circling like sharks. This storyline isn't going away. You can't ignore it, you have to face it. And when you do, here's the reality, the only thing holding Shedeur Sanders back is you. So, Cleveland. What's it going to be?